Hello and welcome. Wherever you are in the world right now, whatever chaos surrounds you or silence weighs on you, this moment is for you. Today, we're not just talking about news. We're not analyzing headlines. We're stepping into something deeper, something eternal, a question that has been whispering through every generation and is now roaring in ours. When the world is on fire, where will you stand? This is not a video about panic. It's not about fear. It's about preparing your soul for the hour that may already be upon us. Now, let's begin. The world doesn't catch fire all at once. It begins in whispers. Now, a distant war. Now, a headline you scroll past too quickly. Now, a currency collapse on the other side of the planet. A wildfire that burns a city, while the rest of the world keeps dancing. We tell ourselves, someone else will fix it. Somewhere else will suffer. Somehow it will all pass. But it doesn't. It grows. It spreads. And before we know it, the fire is no longer distant. It's at the door, not just in cities or systems or armies, but in the hearts of men. Can you feel it? That slow unraveling of certainty, that ache behind your everyday thoughts, that quiet knowledge that something is not right with the world and hasn't been for a long time. Maybe you've tried to ignore it. Maybe you've buried it beneath busyness, beneath entertainment, beneath plans. But it's still there, isn't it? The world is groaning, and so is your soul. This isn't panic. This isn't conspiracy. This is prophecy. And deep down, the fire is real. Not just bombs or governments collapsing, but morality abandoned, truth traded for comfort, souls running without rest, nations roaring without God. This is what happens when humanity forgets who made the flame and starts worshiping the smoke. But here's the question that matters most. When the world is on fire, where will you stand? Not physically, not politically, but spiritually. When comfort is no longer possible, will your faith still stand? When systems fail and shadows fall, will you be found trembling in fear or steady in the truth? This is not a message of fear. It's not a cry of doom. This is an invitation to wake up, to realize that maybe God has allowed the shaking, not to destroy us, but to awaken what we've forgotten, to call us back to what is unshakable. The fire will come. That's no longer a question. It's already begun. But when it does, and when it touches everything you've known, will it consume you or refine you? Will it leave you in ashes or raise you from them? The fire is coming, but not all who walk through it will be lost. Some will walk with someone greater, and they will stand, not because the world is safe, but because their hearts are. So before we go any further, pause, breathe, and ask yourself the one question that will echo louder than any war, louder than any prophecy, louder than any flame. When the world is on fire, where will I stand? Part 1. When the earth groans, the earth doesn't scream. It groans, not in violence, but in sorrow. The mountains do not shout, but they shift. The oceans do not plead, but they rise. And creation, the very dust we walk upon, is waiting, longing, aching for redemption. The Bible told us this would happen, not just in symbolic poetry, but in sobering, specific detail. Wars and rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, kingdoms collapsing from within, earthquakes in strange places, pestilence that crosses borders without passports, fires that no one can stop, storms that arrive too early and never seem to leave. Jesus said, "These are the beginning of birth pains." Not the end, but the beginning. Like a woman who feels the first sharp pain before the child is born, the world is contracting, not to destroy itself, but to deliver something new. But pain always comes first. Can you hear it? Not the headlines, not the breaking news, but the deeper sound beneath all the noise, the groan of a world that was made for peace, now crushed under violence. A world meant for glory, now buried in shame. Romans chapter 8 says, "All creation is groaning together, waiting to be set free." It's not just earthquakes and floods. It's hearts, broken marriages, wounded children, silent churches, desperate prayers whispered in the dark. The ground is crying out. But so are we. Maybe you felt it, that ache in your chest, when the world around you makes no sense, when evil is called good, and good is mocked as weakness, when you see injustice and no one seems to care, when you hear of another war and no one seems surprised. You've felt the groan, even if you couldn't name it. And here's the terrifying truth. Some people have stopped hearing it. Their hearts have hardened. They scroll, but don't see. They listen, but don't hear. They move, but they are numb. But you are listening, because something inside you knows. This is not how it was meant to be, and this is not how it will end. The groaning is not a curse. It's a signal, a call to awaken, a reminder that the story is not over. Pain is the proof that something greater is still coming, and those who hear it, who feel it, who fall on their knees in the midst of it, they are the ones who will not be shaken when the shaking gets worse. So as the earth groans, don't run from the sound. Lean in. Let it break you open. Let it teach you to hope again, because this pain is not meaningless. It is mercy. Part 2. War at the door. War no longer knocks. It walks in, uninvited, and not just with soldiers and missiles, but with silence, with tension, with the absence of peace so loud you can feel it in your bones. Maybe it starts on a distant border, a region you can't pronounce, a name you've never cared about, until one morning it's on your screen, it's in your streets, it's in your prayers, or worse, in your fears. We were told this would happen. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. That's what Jesus said. He didn't say if, he said you will, because war has always been a mirror of what happens when the human soul loses its anchor, when truth collapses and pride rises. War begins long before the bullets. It begins in the heart. It begins when we hate in silence. For when we divide by race or nation or creed, when we protect our comfort instead of defending what is holy. Kufis. And now, the world is unraveling in public what it has been hiding in secret for years. Nations are trembling. Alliances are crumbling. Words are sharper than swords. Sanctions hit deeper than bombs, and the line between reality and prophecy is disappearing fast. You've heard the names: Iran, Israel, Russia, China, the Middle East, again. But this isn't just politics. It's something older, something darker. The Bible speaks of ancient kingdoms, of Gog and Magog, of Persia, of kings of the north and armies from the east. It speaks of wars not just of power, but of destiny, of judgment, of the final shaking. And now, that war is no longer on paper. It's no longer in the distant future. It's at the door. But listen closely. This is not about fear. This is about focus. Because when the world watches missiles, God watches hearts. And when the earth prepares for battle, He prepares his remnant. The Bible doesn't promise that you'll escape every war. It promises something better, that you will not face it alone. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with me. So don't let headlines steal your peace. Don't let threats take your soul. And don't let fear build its home in you. Because the war that truly matters is not around you, it's within you. Will you collapse with the crowd? Or will you stand like one who knows where their refuge is? The world is arming itself for destruction, but heaven is preparing something else. A people who will not bow, who will not burn, who will not run, because they know whom they belong to, and they've already surrendered to a different kind of king. So while the war rages outside, let the peace of Christ rage inside you louder. The fire may come, but peace is your sword, and courage is the armor you were always meant to wear. Part 3. The collapse of all we trusted. It doesn't happen with an explosion. It happens in slow silence, and then, all at once, the things we built, the systems we trusted, the names we held high, the voices we followed, the numbers we worshipped, they crack, they crumble, they collapse, not because they were weak, but because they were never eternal. Banks, markets, institutions, fame, followers, even religion, when built on performance instead of presence, it all folds in the fire. We once believed in the permanence of progress. We trusted technology to save us. We trusted governments to guide us. We trusted money to protect us. We trusted comfort to numb us. And we trusted ourselves, most of all. But now the illusions are breaking. The world is realizing what the Word has been saying all along. Everything that can be shaken will be shaken. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 27. And it's not punishment, it's revelation. The shaking isn't the end. It's the mercy of God exposing false foundations, so we can finally find the real one. Do you feel it? That instability beneath your routines? That crack in the middle of what used to feel secure? The job that once felt solid now feels like sand. The politics that once made you feel protected now make you tired. The money you once saved for safety now whispers nothing but fear. We are being reminded none of this was ever permanent. And deep down, we always knew. There's a word for this moment in Scripture: Babylon. A city built on brilliance, on trade, on gold, on power. A tower that touched the sky, but forgot the God who formed the ground. In Revelation, Babylon collapses, not from enemies, but from within. It was never built to last, and neither are the idols we've made in our time. Your phone can't save you. Your net worth can't redeem you. Your influence can't forgive you. Your nation can't rescue your soul. And when all these things fall, it will not be the end. It will be the beginning, because those who survive the shaking are not the strongest. They are the surrendered. Those who built their lives not on the system, but on the Savior, not on the sand of security, but on the rock of eternity. So don't cling to what's cracking. Don't kneel to what's falling. Don't panic when the scaffolding drops. Instead, let go. Not in fear, but in trust. The collapse is not your enemy. It's your invitation. Because when all we trusted is taken away, we will finally see who was really holding us all along. And in that moment, when the last idol falls and the world has nothing left to promise, you will find that Jesus never moved, and he never will. Part 4. The place no fire can reach. There is a kind of fire that destroys everything it touches. It burns cities. It melts steel. It swallows homes and families and futures. It is the fire we see on the news, the fire we fear in war, the fire that rages in riots, in missiles, in pandemics, in famine. But there is another kind of fire, the kind that searches but does not destroy, that purifies but does not consume, the kind of fire that only God can command. And there is a place, a holy place, where the first kind of fire cannot follow you. We don't talk about it much, not because it isn't real, but because we've forgotten how to get there. It's not a bunker, it's not a country, it's not a vault full of gold, or a perfectly planned survival kit. It's not a physical place at all. It's a place of the soul, a refuge that cannot be built, only entered. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm chapter 91, verse 1. That's the place no fire can reach. It is the same place where Moses stood, before a bush that burned, but was not consumed. It is the same place where Daniel prayed, while lions slept beside him. It is the same place where Paul sang, with bruised ribs and chains. It is the place where saints kneel in prison, and angels stand guard in silence. And it still exists, right now, for you, when everything around you is collapsing. There is a place that stands. When the flames touch your finances, your plans, your reputation, your certainty, there is a place where peace is not based on outcome, a place where fear has no voice, where noise cannot enter, where hell itself cannot reach you. You don't get there by running. You don't get there by preparing harder, or knowing more prophecy, or following the right influencers. You get there. By surrender. You get there. By kneeling. When others are scrambling, by trusting. When others are shouting, by remembering that safety is not a location, it is a person, and his name is Jesus. He is not just a teacher, not just a prophet, not just a moral guide. He is the place. The ark in the flood, the cleft in the rock. The cleft in the rock, the fortress no flame can breach. The fire may take your house, it may take your health, it may take your dreams, but it cannot take your soul, if your soul is hidden in Him. So don't look to escape, look to abide, because the ones who survive what's coming are not the ones with the best plan, but the ones with the deepest roots. And roots grow down, not up. Make your home in Him, not your theology, not your pride, not your opinions, just Him. Let the world burn, let Babylon fall, let the winds howl, let the winds howl. You will not be shaken. If you dwell in the place no fire can reach. Part 5. The fire of judgment or refining. Not all fire is the same. Some fire consumes, some fire cleanses, and the difference is not in the flame, but in what it touches. The same fire that melts wax, hardens clay, the same fire that destroys straw, refines gold. So the real question is not, is fire coming? It is, what am I made of when it does? The fire of judgment is real. The Bible does not hide it. It does not soften it. It does not apologize for it. God is not only love, He is justice, mele. He is holy, wokampali. He is a consuming fire. No alone mal haskagay. There will be a day when everything hidden will be exposed, when every proud tower will fall, when every excuse will melt in the heat of perfect truth. This is not fear-mongering. This is the gospel. Each one's work will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test what sort it is. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 13. But here's the hope, that not all fire is sent to destroy can. Some fire comes to burn away what never belonged. Can. Some fire comes to reveal Mithrithiramason, what was always meant to remain. So maybe the pain you're feeling is not judgment. Maybe it's refining. Maybe the losses, the heartbreak. The shaking of your world is not God's wrath, but His mercy, calling you out of what was false and into what is eternal. The fire of judgment says, "You built your life on sand, now it crumbles." The fire of refining says, "You built your life on me, now I'll make it shine." But you must choose which fire you will face. The difference is not in your strength or your background or your theology. The difference is in your surrender. Refining is for the yielded, for the brokenhearted, for the repentant, for the ones who say, "God, I don't want to survive the fire. I want to be transformed by it." The ones who welcome the flame are not afraid of it, because they know what they will become on the other side. Gold fears no fire, because it knows what it truly is. So ask yourself, not, "Am I safe?" but, "Am I willing? Am I willing to let go of the parts of me that were never holy? Am I willing to let God burn away the bitterness, the idols, the secret pride? Am I willing to let fire make me whole?" Because here is the truth. If you are in Christ, the fire will never come to destroy you. It will come to reveal you, to show the world what can only be made in the heat of surrender. So the next time pain comes, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "What is God freeing me from through this?" Let the fire do its work. Let it burn what cannot last. So what is eternal can finally shine. The fire is coming, and it will touch us all. But not all will burn the same. Part 6. Many will be lost while waiting for peace. Some will fall because they hated the truth. Some will fall because they waited too long to embrace it. They weren't evil. They weren't violent. They were simply waiting. Waiting for things to get better. Waiting for the world to calm down. Waiting for the storm to pass, so they could return to how things were. But what if things will never go back? What if the normal they're waiting for was never meant to return? What if the shaking wasn't an interruption, but an invitation? The Bible tells us of a time just before judgment when people were eating, drinking, marrying, building, and they did not know until the flood came. That's not the story of wickedness. That's the story of distraction. It wasn't hatred that destroyed them. It was delay. They kept saying, "I'll get serious next week. I'll repent when I feel ready. I'll pray when things settle down." But peace never came, and their souls were never ready. There is a dangerous kind of peace the Bible warns about. They will say, "Peace, peace," when there is no peace. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 14. A false comfort, a lullaby sung by the world to keep you asleep while eternity draws near. You don't need more signs. You don't need a louder storm. You don't need another crisis. To make it real, hell, you need to decide what you're doing with the time you still have. Late, because while you wait for peace, your soul is at war, and silence doesn't mean safety. Many will be lost, not because they chose rebellion, but because they chose delay, and delay is the softest form of disobedience. What are you still waiting for? More emotional moment? More powerful sermon? A perfect time that may never come? This moment is mercy. This voice is not random. These words are not by chance. There will be a day when the door is shut, when the oil runs out, when the call goes out, and many say, "Lord, let us in." But the voice replies, "I never knew you," not because they were too far gone, but because they waited until it was too late. Let this be the day you stop waiting. Let this be the day you stop asking, "Will the world be okay?" and start asking, "Will my soul be ready?" even if it's not. Because peace may never come to this world again, but peace can come to you now, before the last trumpet, before the next tremor, before the final silence. Don't wait for the world to feel safe before you run to the only place that truly is. Part 7. Where will you stand? The shaking will not stop. The fire will not wait, and the hour will not be delayed for those who still hesitate. Everything you've seen, everything you've heard, everything you've felt has been leading to one question. When the world is on fire, where will you stand? Not in theory, not in emotion, but in reality, in the stillness of your own soul, in the quiet between heartbeats, in the space where eternity whispers your name. Will you stand in fear because the systems you trusted have fallen? Or will you stand in faith because the one you trust has never moved? Will you stand with the world, grasping for normal that will never return? Or will you stand apart, rooted in something deeper than this life can offer? This is not a script. This is not content. This is not entertainment. This is your moment. The fire is not just out there. It's in here, searching, dividing, revealing. So what will it find in you? Wax or gold? Sand or stone? A temple built on fear or a sanctuary built on grace? You don't need a prophet to tell you what's coming. You can feel it. You te halay. So ready here. Now, bul halay. You don't need a preacher to shake you awake. Same. Because deep down, you were never fully asleep. You've just been waiting for someone to say it out loud. It's time. Time to return. Time to surrender. Time to stand. And if you've made it this far, it's not by accident. The world has many voices, but this one, right now, has come to reach the part of you you've kept hidden the longest, so let it, Yiswain, let this message become more than a message. Let it become a decision, a shift, a new beginning. Let it burn away every delay, every excuse, every false comfort. And if you don't know where to start here. Let your soul return to the one who made it. Kneel, weep, pray, breathe. He is listening, even now, especially now. And if you're ready to go deeper, if you want to prepare your heart, beyond this moment, I've written something for you. It's free, it's quiet, and it's made for souls who no longer want to drift through dangerous days. Dove. It's called 31 Days Closer to God, a devotional journey to help you walk deeper with the Lord. One day at a time. You'll find the link below. It's my gift to you, not because you need more content, but because you need more communion. And if you want to stay close, if you want to keep hearing words like these, words that don't just inform, but transform, then subscribe. Not for numbers, not for algorithms, but because this might be the voice that reminds you who you are when the world forgets. Before you go, don't leave this moment behind. Let the fire do its work. Let the shaking do its sifting. Let the silence become sacred. And when the last flame rises, when the sky turns black and the earth gives way, you will not fall, because you didn't build your life on what could burn. You built it on the one who walks through the fire and is not consumed. So when the world is on fire, you will not run, you will not hide, you will stand.